Okay, ready. So I'm going to share again this. What is this one? Mm, Second. Stefania, could you please speak?
Yeah, okay, teacher, I will
Okay,
continue, okay?
okay. Give me a second.
Now,
Give me a
can you
second
hear me?
because I am. Yes, yes, yes. But I am looking for the presentation. Your my map here. Okay, ready.
Okay, I will continue in the part
Okay,
I
good.
was talking, okay? The most language consists of a small number of the sounds organized into words, phrases, clauses, sentence, and discourse, okay? The language also has one function. The main function of the language is to help the people to communicate. Um, the language has one whole structure in the system, which is called grammar. Under grammar, there are heading there are traditionally several heading, such phonetic, phonology, morphology, syntax, and semantics. I'm going to talking about syntax and morphology. The syntax is how words combine to form sentence. And the morphology is the simple the study of the shapes, or in the linguistic has to do with how words are shaped. How can I say it? How words are shaped, and how these shapes of the words may systematically adjust in the order or complex communication tasks. The syntax and morphology also is the morphosyntax. Some people call morphosyntax. It's a simple combination of two words. It's one every word comes from the morphology syntax. Is the study of the interaction of the morphology I told you before. One more I can say. Okay, the lexicon is the complete set manifold unities in the language. The unities in the lexicon are realism mental, construct the images. And this is, I think, is over, teacher.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation here. Something that is interesting in this presentation is how they explain as well this part that has to do with articulatory organs that are included also in the lesson. Remember that we are analyzing this, how or why these articulatory organs are very important for us to know is because, as you were mentioned, this articulatory phonetics is in charge of analyzing how the sound is produced. So if the idea is to know how the sound is produced, so we need to know the different parts of the articulatories, or the different articulatories, and the different parts of this our articulatory system, yeah, to understand how to produce and how to articulate the sounds in the correct way to make them sound more natural. Yeah, remember that something important here in phonetics, especially because phonetics belongs to all the languages, is that the phonetic, or the way that we articulate sounds in what language, could be different in another language. And this is something that we are going to analyze next class. How can we articulate the vowels and the consonants, especially those that we don't have in English language teaching? Okay, in English language, sorry. Okay, so thank you very much for this presentation. Another thing that was interesting in this presentation was this part in here. about the syntax, right? And how you divide these into different categories as well. So the categories are the ones that we are going to analyze. And in the morphology, what we are going to have is specifically this part of how to analyze the creation the creation of the words, how words work in English. Yeah, because it is not the same in English and Spanish. They are very related in some aspects, but they are different in other aspects. Okay, so let's continue. Let me see. I have here my folder. So Diana Marcela is here. Juanita. Yes, I think that I have seen Diana Marcela, Carlos Restrepo, and Diana. Ah, yes, okay. Right. So we listen to you. Go ahead.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good evening. I'm Diana. It's a pleasure to meet you, teacher, and everybody. I know some of my colleagues were with me last semester, so I can see familiar faces. Okay, so Juanita and Carlos, are you okay? Can you hear me?
Yes, we are listening.
Excellent. So I would like to start our presentation.
Yes, Jan is gone.
Okay, good. Thank you, Juanita. Okay, so first, I would like to talk about morphology. I would like to focus on the fact how morphology can help us as English teachers, of language teachers, and then I would like to talk about how morphology can help our students. So first, let's start with morphology. So the knowledge of morphology can be applied among the teachers because of the following benefits. First, it increases our vocabulary as teachers. We can detect the changes of word classes. We can know the word origins, and it enhances us as teachers to think creatively. So those are the benefits for us as English teachers. And now I would like to mention to you some of the benefits that morphology brings to the learners, to our students. So morphology is really important for the students because it helps them to understand English vocabulary and the grammar better. So those are the benefits that morphology brings for the teachers, us as English teachers, and the students. So secondly, I would like to focus on syntax. So first, us as teachers, how can syntax help us as English teachers? So syntax helps us as teachers to understand the way in which words are put together in sentences and paragraphs. So we can instruct our students properly about the way messages are made just when students are ready to talk English or the target language that we are teaching. So when we talk about syntax, there is something that we as English teachers must have really clear, and it's the way that we teach grammar. We don't teach grammar just to, how can I explain that? We don't teach grammar in a separate way because our students will just learn to form sentences, but when they are put to a challenge, like to communicate on a daily conversation, they won't be able to face the challenge. So we teach grammar in a language context. So the students will be ready to face daily conversations. So that's an important aspect of syntax. And talking about phonetics, I think when I was writing in the forum one of my answers was that I research a lot about phonetics, and English teachers, we should focus when a student is basic. We as teachers, we should focus on teaching phonetics, so the students will be familiar with the way that the words sound in English. So they will produce beautiful English, and everybody will be able to understand them. So that's something that I wanted to share with you, and some aspect of the maps as well. We can see how phonetics and phonology are closely connected. And and Juanita and I and Carlos mentioned in the map, or showing the map really clear, phonetics is concerned with the study of the sounds, speech processes like production, perception, and the analysis of the sounds. So something that helped me to understand the difference between phonetics and phonology is that phonetics focuses on the physical aspect of the sounds, but phonology actually focuses on the abstract aspect of sounds. So we can think of phonology as the study of the sound system. So it has to do how the sounds are produced in the nasal cavity, the larynx, the mouth, and the lungs. So that's what we wanted to highlight in the map at the top, how phonetics and phonology are both connected. And now syntax, when we talk about syntax, we will talk a little bit about the grammatical arrangement of the words. Is the way that we put words within sentences. And when we talk now about morphology, which we explained that at the bottom part of the map, so includes the form and the structure, and the morphology is within a language and their modification. So with morphology, we analyze the words. So we have parts of the words. We have the parts of the words, which are the stems, the root words, prefixes, and suffixes. When we talk about morphology, we will talk as well about sounds and gestures. Hello, can everybody hear me? I just lost the image for one moment.
Yes, I can listen. I can listen.
I can.
Yes, we can listen.
Lovely, thank you. So the sounds and the gestures, I was talking to you about morphology, are organized into words, into phrases, into clauses, sentences, and discourses. So that was like a little introduction to what we did in the map. I don't know if anybody has a question before my colleagues continue.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Carlos Andres, and I'm gonna continue with this presentation. So I wanna complete the information that our classmate Diana gave us. Okay, let's talk about phonetics. I think phonetics is a very controversial topic because when I studied this topic, I saw a lot of people on internet and researchers talking that English is not a phonetic language because, for example, if you see words as like breathe as a verb, yeah, you can see that it changes if we use it as a noun. That will turn out breath. Yeah. So we have to be very careful at the moment that we start studying or using phonetics in a classroom because it can be very useful, but at the same time it will be very how can I say this? It can be the opposite, yeah, because students sometimes can be very confused if we don't teach that English has some rules. Even English is not a language that has some specific rules like Spanish, because, for example, in Spanish we pronounce a like a. Yes, all the time that we see in a structure a letter like this, it is always pronounced the same. But in English, sometimes where this word is used in some specific words, it can change. So it's very interesting if even studied what is the reason that what is the reason that the word of the sound is sometimes changes, and it's excellent. Okay, let's continue with morphology. Okay, morphology is the branch of linguistics, yeah, that studied the word structure, especially in terms of formants, adjective and morphological. Uh, so this part of this topic in the linguistics is excellent, because we see is what we talk in the classroom as grammar. Yes, we see the way that sometimes we try to 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 use and to be immersed in this kind of study, that how we can teach our students in a better way. Yeah, because sometimes you can see that some simple structures are very common and very similar with a Spanish structure, but when we talk about technical structures of technical structures, we can see that sometimes the the words can change in the way that we want to do our speech. So uh, I think we can use this as a tool that to make easier to our students to make and understand easier the grammar. Okay, and syntax is the set of rules, principles, and processes that govern this of sentences in a given language, usually including word order, and such a principle and processes, and the goal of many syntheticians. Okay, what I like more of this point is that the researcher in syntax are focused on discover the syntactic rules of common to all the language. They try to find the rules of all of this language and try to see what are the common structures or and processes that they can use to learn that's those different languages to make it easier to for example, if we focus in on our students to try to use all these tools to help them understand the structures of the different languages of this study of French or whatever we want to teach. Okay, phonology is defined as the study of some patterns and their main meanings, both within and across languages. Uh, Phonology is the study of different sounds, yes, that the way they come together to form a speech, words, such as the comparison of the sounds of two different words. Like, for example, we can say that pop up, yeah. So I think that all those things are the complement between among all these topics, because if you see some of them studies a specific how can I say this, a specific thing, and the other topic take all complement, yes. For example, like phonology take the whole structure, yes, to study, for example, to complement phonology that is only focused on one sound. Yes, for example, if we see vowels, we can see that the sound of the each vowels that we are teaching now, we are presenting, and phonology just it studies the whole structure that how the words come together, and try to see as I was talking before. When this kind of word changing, for example, in English, when they change. When they put together, yes, they can change the sound depending on the word that they use. Okay, I don't know if I think in I passed. So if Anita wants to add something, or I don't know, any of my classmates has a question. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, okay, okay.
Sorry, I just lost it for a moment. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I think that you've already finished, right?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay. So just to finish with our presentation, I would like to say that apart from pronunciation of the speech sounds themselves, um, it's important for us to understand that another important aspect of phonetics is that is often neglected in foreign language learning and teaching intonation. So, for teachers and learners, the intonation is often forgotten because it carries meaning and expresses speakers' emotions and attitudes. So, when learning a foreign language, students tend to transfer that intonation habits that they already have from their native language into the second language. And that's a problem because they're forgetting that when you use intonation in appropriate way, in inappropriate way, sorry, um, it can lead to misunderstanding and means also and breakdown between speakers coming from two different linguistic backgrounds. Also, in higher education, phonetics does not merely exist on its own as a subject, but it's important to admit it as a discipline employed by a variety of linguistic files, and the knowledge and understanding of phonetics that comes in useful. Mm, and to finish with this, I would like to say that phonetics provides data for phonology. These two disciplines are very close and they are related to each other. And understanding phonology without good knowledge of phonetics is almost impossible, as phonetics fits phonology, and it fits phonology with data, which is then used in exploring sound patterns of language.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Juanita, Carlos, and Diana for your presentation. There are some things that they said that are very very important, especially because we have to be conscious that we can. Okay, we have to use our mother language, that is Spanish, but we have to understand that the system and the structures and all the aspects that we are going to analyze are going to be different. So it was very clear when Carlos said that in phonetics, for example, English is not a phonetic language. And it is true in the sense that there are not rules in order to understand the phonetic production, right? So
Yes.
we are going to see that along the course, but there are no rules, so you cannot memorize something, and it is not going to be as logic as we have here in Spanish, but it is going to be very interesting. And the other thing that Juanita mentioned as well was that we can change if we don't know how to use those prosodic or suprasegmented features in the correct way. It could be it could have consequences in the communication. Sometimes it is not all the time, but in the communication sometimes we are going to have some kind of inconveniences. So the conscious or the awareness about the language for me is the most important, more than knowing the rules or knowing the or memorizing things. I think that awareness about the language is what is going to make us uh, aware as well as teachers of how to teach this language, right, and how to improve the language level that we have right now. Okay, so thank you very much, Diana, Juanita, and Carlos for this presentation. So let's continue. I'm going to open the next one. No, this is not the next one. Um, so Claudia, Jairo, Jorge, Maria Stephanie, we have already seen this one, right? Claudia, Diana, Paola, Maria Estefania.
Yes, teacher. We
Yes,
already.
yes. So we have Paola, right? Let's see.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, this one, right,
John.
Paola? Paola
Yes,
and
with John.
with John. Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is John Jairo Viveros, and I'm going to talk about this mind map. First of all, before to start with this mind map, I would like to talk. I would like to say something. For example, a normal person when he's going to talk with their family, his family, and he's going to talk with his friends in different situations, is using the linguistic to talk with the person. Now, working as an English teacher is very different because when we are going to teach some things, we have to know what's the way and how are we going to transmit the knowledge to the students. For this reason, for us, it's very important to know and the history, the way to transmit the knowledge for each student. If we transmit the knowledge very well, the student can learn in a good way this language. And now I'm going to say something about this because this topic is very important for us because we are going to be a teachers to transmit our knowledge. And I would like to say something. Theoretical linguistics study language and languages with a view, constructions, and theory, their structure functionals with a rigors. Any practical appliance that the investigation language and languages may have, whereas applied linguistics concern appliance, the concepts and linguistic varieties practical. For example, I would like to see something else. Some linguistics assess or imply the theoretical linguistic imply studies and language in general, that the study and particular language than constitute kinds of theoretical scientists. Another important thing about this topic is thought to about phonetics. Phonetics is very good because it's expressions, it's a cultural expression when you are going to transmit some information to your for example, to classmates or students, in these cases. I would like to say something. Phonetics, the study of sounds, speech, and their psychological productions, acoustic, and qualities. It deals with the configurations of the vocal tracts. Finally, hello?
Yes.
Okay, I continue. Okay, I would like to say for all my classmates, now we are starting to be an English teacher. Working as an English teacher is a very good experience because we have the possibility to transmit that knowledge for the rest of students or somebody else that need our dedication, our knowledge, our something we give to the whatever person. Now, Paola is going to continue with this topic.
Okay. And now, for example, in the map says something about the morphology. The morphology is the study of words, how they are formed, and their relationship to other words in the same language. Also, is the branch of the linguistic that studies the structure inside the word, then for is classify or say what is the meaning of the word. The difference of the phonetics on the phonology, for example, the phonetics describe linguistic, all speech sounds, study forms, limit scope, articulation, transmission, and reception. And the phonology is theoretic linguistic zone of a particular language, study phonemes, scope, selection, organization, function, and destruction. Okay, now and talk about the syntax. Is the set of rules, principle, and process that govern the structure of the sentence in the language. Also, is the set of rule, principle, and process that govern the structure of sentence in a given language. Usually include word order, the
The term syntax is also used to refer to the study of source principle and process. And also, I said that this topic that is very important in the linguistic, and the difference is each only one student. For example, the sounds, the structure, the content of the prayer, and the observation of the word that we are saying. Also, the theoretic linguistic is the branch of the linguistic which included into the nature of language itself. And this is the presentation, teacher. I hope you like.
Okay, thank you very much. Something that it is really interesting in this presentation is the reflection that Jairo does about teaching English and how teaching English is related to what we know. But something that I would like to share with you is something that I have learned is that it is not only to transmit, because transmit is just giving information and passing the information by. It is only to share knowledge. And what we have done here is to share knowledge. As you can see, everybody here has an opinion, has a different point of view. Everybody has different experiences. So it is going to contribute to each one of us, to continue building up our knowledge about something. And this is my invitation from now on, to continue sharing what you know, your understanding. I don't want to be the only one who talks in this class. I want to share with you, I want to work with you different things here, different experiences. How have you lived this idea of working with theoretical linguistics, although you are not teaching theoretical linguistics when you are teaching English as such? I mean, they are included, but you are not teaching each one of these aspects. Okay. Okay, so thank you very much, Paola and Jairo, for this presentation. I would like to know if there is any other, because we are missing some people. I understand what Junior you wrote to me, Henry Junior. So I understand what happened. So I am going to wait for the map. Okay, so is there any other person? I don't have any other mind map. Okay, right, good. Okay, so continuing with this, with our class, last week we were talking about something that was very interesting in the sense of understanding the language as a system, but understanding the language as a system in order to start teaching the language in a certain way. So that is what we are going to start doing during this class, seeing some things, some aspects. So for example, next class we are going to focus on phonetics, and specifically on how phonetics works, and how we are going to start analyzing the vowels, the vowel sounds. Okay, so I know that you have done, most of you have done the lesson and all the activities. So this is more or less the last activity that we have for the unit number 1. The lesson is the last activity, so you can finish the lesson and we can start working on the phonetics class next week. Okay, so do you have any questions so far about the course? Because I know that many people didn't attend last class. So do you have any question about the procedures or about something that can I, Diana Marcela?
Yeah, teacher, I'm sorry. It's because I was not last virtual
Don't worry.
encounter. I'm sorry if I'm repeating some of the questions that my colleagues or my classmates asked you last week. In this
Go ahead.
class, are we actually going to learn phonetics, see, all the aspects that we are analyzing, or are you going to teach us how to teach those aspects to our students?
No, the idea here is just to analyze some features of those fields. But the way that you are going to include it is going to be like your proposal. If you see, I'm going to show you here. That is something that we explained last class. But okay, I'm going to apologize again. I don't know if you listened to me at the beginning, but we had a lot of problems with the class last class, and I couldn't finish my class. I couldn't because of the web. No, it's in presentation. It's in presentation. I'm going to show you here that the general program and something that it is planning here. Unit number 1. Let me see. I had a problem with the questionnaire, but I did something. Okay. Let me check, Juanita. I'm going to check. But if I can help you with your lesson, but if I erase everything, okay? So you can start again. Okay, so this is the unit number 1 in which we are going to do like a general introduction to theoretical linguistics. The unit number 2 that we are going to work about vowels, consonants, parts of a speech in syntax, free and bound morphemes in morphology. But in unit number 3, remember, we only have nine weeks. This is a short time for analyzing 3 different things. So in unit number 3, we have here something that I call a final project. And this is something that we were discussing with people who attended last week. I propose this. Yes, Diana. Yes, Diana. Please check the lessons. Sorry, the activities of unit number 1, and you have the time for finishing. Okay. Please, let's mute. Mute, please, because there is a lot of noise. Okay, thank you. Okay, Diana. No problem with that. A question, Ingrid?
Thank you, teacher.
Yes, teacher, I have a question. I did my lesson, but I checked and it says like I have earned like no points so far. So I don't know what, if it is a mistake or I have to do it again or something.
But you finished the lesson completely? All the exercises and everything?
Yeah.
And you press on the right buttons and everything?
Yeah, and I'm like taking a look at this right now, and it says like you have earned 0 points out of 0 points thus far.
Let me see right now. Okay, but I was talking about another thing. Okay, so let me finish with the first thing, and then we can check this.
Okay.
You are Ingrid, right?
Yep.
No, Ingrid, you are Ingrid Rocío Cortázar.
Yes.
This is your grade.
Okay.
Right.
Because it says like 0 points so far.
Don't worry. Okay, so we were talking about here the final project, and as I come to this point because of the question that Diana asked me before, and it is if we are going to integrate this to teaching. So this final project is a micro class on theoretical. It says on theoretical linguistics, but it doesn't mean that you have to teach phonetics or syntax or morphology, but you can integrate this like in a class. What is your proposal for this? What we discussed last class is if it is possible to do it in group, or if it is better to do it individually. Why did I ask this? Because I know that not many people live here in Bogota. Some people live in other parts of the country, other parts of the world. So it is kind of complicated to start like doing a class as such, especially because it is a video. Yeah, it is a video. So we agreed last class that this final project could be in individually. Okay, it is a video, it is a micro class, and if it is a micro class, it's like 7 minutes, 10 minutes class. It is not a huge class, it is not 2-hour class. Okay, so it is like an activity that you are going to show something like using what you know now in order to help others to understand some aspects of the linguistics without teaching linguistics as such. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question. I am not going to teach you how to teach, okay, Diana, but we are going to try to find out a way. Yes, as a team. Yep. Any other question, guys, that you have about the course, about this? Pay attention to the dates. I am flexible. I have to tell you that I am flexible with the dates. When an activity has more than 3 dates, like this one, that is the first one, and it is the only one, it's because there is a process, and the process is in the guide. Yes, and the replies until 25th. This is the last chance. So in order to grade this activity, you have to participate in the first post, in the aftermind, and replying to somebody. Yeah, like in the interaction. So pay attention to that. So I'm going to take into account those things. In the mind map, this is for the September the 1st. You have time to do this activity. In the mind map, it says that it is for August the 18th because we had to present this during this week. It's just because of that, okay? But we are going to have that into mind. The rest of the activities, if you pay attention, unit number 2, September the 15th. I am not going to ask you to do activities weekly, but if you want, you can do it because you are the owners of your time, and you are the ones who are going to distribute your time for doing this. But my suggestion is don't wait till the last moment to do the lessons because the lessons are not short. Yes, and you are going to get despair with this. So pay attention to this. You are going to do activities weekly, one activity and the other. If you have questions, send me the message right away. But send me the message to me. Send the message to me, please. Okay, I can help you with that. I can give you a hint if you need. Right? This is 2 lessons. The activities are 2 lessons here, and here this is a questionnaire. I think that is a questionnaire, but it is very short. It is not that long, based on what we are studying. And the same happens with unit number 3. The last day that we have for doing everything, I mean, to submit everything, is September the 29th. Why September the 29th? Because this class is until October the 3rd, and by October the 1st, I need to have all the grades. Yeah, so in here we have the self-evaluation that it is going to be October the 1st. This is, I think, I don't know, I don't remember if it is a Monday. Let me see. October the 1st is a Monday. Yeah, and we finish the classes on Wednesday. So by Monday, I need everything completely done to give you the grades, to send you the grades, and you are going to say, yes, I agree, I don't agree, and we can discuss about that. Yes? Because, okay, personally speaking, the grades are the less important. The most important thing for me is that you can share knowledge with me as well. Any other question about this course? No?
Teacher, I do have a question.
Okay, let me see who you are because I can only see. Okay, Catalina, please go ahead.
Then is it possible that you open the activity so we can, like, for example,
Start now?
Yes, because for example, for the activity 3.3, which is the final project, we're going to need a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps we can start planning the activity by now and then to have enough time.
Yeah, okay, I agree. I agree. So I'm going to open everything. I'm going to fix the dates and everything. And I'm going to leave you enter to the course as you want. You know that you have to plan how to develop all the activities. Okay, it is up to you. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for your suggestion, Catalina. Any other thing to say? Okay. So for next class, as we are going to start working with vowels and consonants, and you have already done the lesson number 1 that has to do with phonetics and phonology, what we are going to do is try to do the class like a little more practical. Okay. So we are going to start with transcription. Yes. Although we are not going to be experts on transcription, we are going to try to start with transcription. So prepare a little bit with your IPA International Phonetic Alphabet in order to start recognizing the symbols. Yeah, I'm going to explain the symbols, but you have to be like prepared in advance in order to see what symbol represents the sounds. Okay, what phoneme is representing the sound. Okay, so I don't know. I think that we can finish the class right now. Yes, Marcela? Diana Marcela says yes. Okay, very good. Okay, guys, see you then next class. Hope to see you all. I hope not to have any problem with these technologies. I don't know what is happening this semester, especially with this group, because the other group works perfectly. I don't know what happens with this group, but okay. I'm talking about technology, okay? So see you next class. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Diana, remember,
Bye-bye,
Lucia, remember that you have the time to do the activities, but try to do all the activities, okay?
Yes,
Diana.
teacher, thank you so much.
Okay, if you need any help, any kind of help, just write to me, and I can help you with anything, okay?
Thank you, teacher.
Okay, bye-bye, guys.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Teacher,
Bye,
I wrote you
everyone.
in private chat.
Sorry?
I wrote you in private chat.
Okay, I'm going to read.
Teacher, can I'm gonna write you, or can I ask you something about my situation about the unit 1?
Let me do something.